what strikes out about the Kolkata case is this lack of safety for medical professionals as well as lack of safety for women in our country in a government medical college. You know, when we speak about a rape case, sometimes, if it happens in an obscure location, that's what the uh, general public would occasionally highlight about the case, that, oh, it happened in this place outside the city. This happened right in the middle of the city in a government medical college. Also, as we speak, I think it's 20th August, murkier details about the case are coming through. I'm also going to go on record and say that right after our podcast, we had another podcast scheduled, which was with some of the doctors from the Kolkata Medical College, the RG Kar Government Medical College. They backed out yesterday. They called us up and said that we're getting threat calls to not be on the show. This is the truth of what's happening in our country. This situation is way murkier than what we initially thought it was, and it was extremely murky to begin with. So, should we begin by talking about the case?
Sure. So I think what happened in Kolkata is something that is horrific, right? I think today the conscience of the entire country is shaken. The entire nation has basically been brought to its knees, right? Not just medical professionals, not just women. I am a father of a young daughter, right? Today, I am not sure that I want my daughter to potentially pursue medicine. I'm scared. Ranveer, I'm scared, right? If this can happen in Kolkata, in a government college, this can happen anywhere, right? But before, it's important to realize what a doctor goes through, right, to reach this place. I'll just tell you in a second, right? Roughly 25 lakh. So before this, right? Doctor banna Ram ke vanvas ke barabar hai, right? 25 lakh people give the NEET UG examination. 25 lakh. Out of which roughly 1 lakh people get an MBBS seat, 50,000 in government colleges, 50,000 in private colleges. After 4.5 years of MBBS, they'll do a year of internship. After a year of internship, they will give the NEET PG examination. A very difficult examination, which again only has 64,000 seats. If you're lucky, you get in and become a resident. After 3 years of residency, you will do a rural bond. 3 years. After that, you will do a super specialty. After that, you will basically start practicing and having a thriving practice. Now, let's put that aside here to tell you what it takes to become a doctor, right? Now, what has happened in the Kolkata case is something that we all need to step back and say that what is going to happen after this? Yes, we all are protesting, doctors on the streets, you and I are disappointed. As a father, I'm crying. What is going to happen after this? Are we going to get justice? Sure, hopefully we will get justice. The poor girl and her family will get justice. And my only hope and prayers is that. But after that, what will happen? We've seen the infamous Nirbhaya case. What happened after that? And I'll tell you, a very similar incident happened in New York in 1989, where a pathologist, Dr. Catherine, was brutally murdered in New York's Bellevue Hospital. Very similar case. Uncanny how similar it is. But what happened after this will blow your mind. It changed the way hospital security was in the US forever. The mayor of the city made it a single priority, not just to bring justice, but to change how hospital security and surveillance would take place in New York hospitals forever. My hope and prayers is that this incident is a change, brings a reform in India and in Indian hospitals. So today doctors can feel safe while providing care and being selfless souls that they are.
Yeah. I have so much to say about what you just said, but I'd also like to genuinely address the CM of Bengal, Mamata Banerjee, the PM of our country, Narendra Modi ji, and the health minister of our country, JP Nadda ji. I feel this is such an important moment in our nation's post-independence history that the biggest political figures in the country need to step in. I believe the Supreme Court, as we speak, has taken up the case this morning. But we need some reforms, especially when it comes to rape laws, but also especially when it comes to the safety of medical professionals in our country. There's a lot that's going wrong in the space of healthcare in general. A friend of mine, Amin, he runs a podcast called Untriggered. He had someone called Abha Singh on the show a few days ago. She's a female rights activist and a lawyer. She basically highlighted the condition that our country's hospitals are conducting themselves in. For example, let's just take this case. Why was the doctor choosing to take a nap in a seminar hall versus taking a nap in an actual assigned area like some kind of a sleeping room, what's called a rest room, which is different from a washroom. I believe that when it comes to hospitals abroad, there are these assigned areas for doctors to sleep in. It's probably thought of as a concept because of cases like this. Would you like to say anything about?
No, there are a couple of things, right? I think you're spot on. I'll tell you. I'll tell you this, right? So, as the co-founder of Knya, I feel it's my duty to understand how medical professions functions. Not being a doctor myself,
Sure.
So every month I visit a government medical college across the country, right? To speak to doctors, to speak to nurses, to understand what their lives are like. How can we make better products, better scrubs for them? And every single time I go to a government medical college, and there hasn't been one exception. I need to go to the washroom, of course, for the 3-4 hour visit that I am. And honestly, Ranveer, I am embarrassed. I'm embarrassed of the hygiene of these hospitals. You cannot go and urinate in these bathrooms. I can't even imagine what these doctors go through by spending 24 to 36 hours in these hospitals. They live there. They live there. A resident by definition means they are residents of the hospitals. It's not practical for them to go to the hostel every time they want to take a 15-minute snooze, right? They need restrooms. That's number one. Second, which is very critical, the quality of food and their mess facilities, almost non-existent. So yes, doctors are telling other people that please eat healthy, but they themselves don't have the opportunity to either rest or eat healthy. And third, and the most critical thing, today you can walk into a government medical hospital without anybody asking you who you are or why you're there. You can walk into a ward, you can walk into an OPD, and nobody will ask you why you're there. There is no form of security or surveillance in any of these government institutes. So today, yes, rest is very critical, but we're not able to even provide them security. Same thing happened in the Kolkata case. The young woman just went to a seminar room, which was not even a resting room, to rest, but there was no security there to even help her. And her body was found a couple of hours after. Right? So to tell you, this poor infrastructure that we have in these government colleges is taking us back and really making it difficult for the smartest minds of our country to perform better.
Yeah, something that's really messed up, not just about the case, but this is a generalized statement, is that when you speak to a lot of young doctors, they'll say things like, dude, I wouldn't want my kids to become a doctor. Where's this thought coming from? And I think this thought is probably accelerated because of this situation now. But do you hear people saying things like this?
100%. This is the absolute truth. My godparents are doctors. None of their kids are doctors. I talked to them. I was like, are any of your friends who are doctors, are they doctors? They are not doctors. I talk to doctors. I interact with probably 2,000-3,000 doctors on a daily basis. Right? At Knya, we interact with them. And often I ask them, yes, I'll tell you, today if you pick those same doctors, they will pick becoming a doctor any day of the week, even though these hardships are there. Because at core, they are not doing this for the money. They are not doing this for the fame. They're doing this because they're saving lives. They're taking care of patients. They're alleviating them of pain. Boss Ranveer, nobody wakes up at 3 a.m. every day to do a delivery for money. They do it because they care and they are compassionate souls. But do they want their family members and their daughters and their sons to go through this? It's a big question mark. Mm-hmm. And I think today, not just in India, right? I think what we are seeing is a massive brain drain. Quick statistic here again. In the United States, 26% of doctors are from immigrant families. Largest percentage of this 26% is from which country? India. Indian doctors are leaving India. They do not want to pursue medicine here because of these difficult hardships. So the time has come for us to take care of our doctors better, our nurses better, provide them respect, provide them basic laws, better infrastructure. Because if we do not provide this care to these doctors, there could be a world in India where there may not be any doctors. And so we will not have less doctors, we'll have almost no doctors.
Yeah. Again, highlighting what Abha ma'am said on that podcast, she said something like, once a situation like a rape and or murder happens, you'll see a lot of people blaming the government, and then you'll see their naysayers saying, hey, what does the government have to do with this? But she said that the government should actually be held accountable because the actual problems, even if you just highlight this case, lie with the system, lie with the bureaucrats in charge of the hospital. The kind of timings that the hospital operates on, the restroom situation, the washroom situation, the security situation, just how these interns and resident doctors in hospitals are managed. It's a very high stress environment. Maybe before we let the audience go, we'll just quickly summarize the key points. For me, stronger rape laws is like the big outcome of this whole case. Secondly, a deep dive into exactly what's going on at RG Government Medical College in Kolkata, where so many murky details are coming out. Apparently, politicians are involved. Apparently, the dean was involved. There's rumors of a drug racket, an organ trafficking racket. We don't even know the truth. The Supreme Court has taken it up, which is why we've not broken down the case too much in today's episode. Thirdly, the kind of laws that need to be passed for the security of doctors. The Central Protection Act needs to be passed. Fourth, better facilities in our existing hospitals, especially the government hospitals where the residents have to go through such a difficult time. Fifth, what you spoke about in terms of civil services, that civil services angle to being a doctor. Right? Do you want to repeat that?
Yeah, so I think what I mentioned is I think Indian medical services was there in India before independence. I think if it can be brought back today, it can bring a lot of honor back to the profession and can also help a lot with community medicine, preventive care, which in some sense could support the tertiary care units, whereby reducing violence and the pressure on medical professionals.
Right.
Reduce brain drain as well, because there's a sense of honor in this profession as well, right? So I think there are a couple of real benefits on why I think the Indian medical services can add a lot of value to the entire ecosystem for patients, but also for medical professionals.
Right. I personally would love to see the leaders of our country talk about this case more, not just be a part of the morchas and the public showcasing of anger, but actually give out statements, talk about this case. There's definitely a political angle involved here. This is way more murkier than we were initially thought to believe. Justice for the doctor who was involved in this case, and justice for all of our country's doctors who have to go through any kind of violence due to their profession. Hey, if you enjoyed today's clip, make sure you check out all the other clips we've uploaded on this channel. You'll find a clip related to almost every single topic as long as you're willing to search for it.